Today we're here in the famous Greyfriars Kirkyard, a very old part of Edinburgh's history and also one of the most haunted parts of the city. We're going to start off, we're going to tell you a little bit about the history of a famous resident called Greyfriars Bobby. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard.
Famous dog,
yeah.
portrayed in the Disney movie. Famously he came here with his owner Jock from the Highland clearances many years ago and remained on the grave of his master even after his death. He remained here for so many years that the council, Edinburgh Council, paid for his dog licence to remain here until the dog died. So it's quite a remarkable story, even something so far gone. That's the light-hearted part of Greyfriars Kirk. What we're going to do now is move on to the darker side. Okay, here we are at the darker side of the Greyfriars Kirkyard, away from good old Greyfriars Bobby and the story of the faithful dog.
Yeah.
The famous Burke and Hare, two Irishmen, came to Edinburgh and stayed in the place we were in earlier, the vaults, Edinburgh vaults. They were infamous grave robbers. They'd visit this graveyard as well as other ones and steal the bodies, the cadavers, to sell to surgeons in Surgeons' Hall not far from here. These were put in place to prevent Burke and Hare from their reign of terror. And as you can see, some of them still stand. There's one here, there's one there, there's other parts of the graveyard with them. And that's purely what this was for, was to prevent them digging up the bodies to sell them.
That's terrible that they've got to do that.
Absolutely. Oh, they were just men out to make a quick bit of money. They were wrong-uns, these guys. And that's what they were, Burke and Hare. Here's another classic example of the extent that the grave robbers would go to get bodies for money. And it actually reads, "This iron mortsafe was placed over the grave to prevent grave robbers from digging up the body for sale to anatomy classes in the medical school," which is Surgeons' Hall, basically over in that direction not far, which hosts the skeleton of the famous William Burke.
Wow.
The very man. So this is what they've up
to him.
Yeah, this was just restored in 2010, so you can see it's got a new version of it. But that's what it was to keep them out.
Can you imagine the families though that have just buried someone and come back and find that the tomb's been raided and there's nowhere there?
And that's the living example of what remains. So that was another of the famous residents of Greyfriars Kirk, William Burke and Hare.
Amazing.
Yeah. Part of Greyfriars Kirk now, which is famously haunted by the bloody judge George Mackenzie. In the 1600s, Mackenzie was the judge for the Covenanters, a religious movement that were defeated and executed at his hand. So many of them were, put in the prison here, barbaric conditions. And as a warning to other people, against his religion, their heads were put on the fence when we came in, that famous fence there, and another one we'll see in a moment. This is where it all began, and I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. This is the famous catacomb, the tomb of the bloody Judge George Mackenzie. Now, always quiet up until 1990. A homeless man seeking refuge for the night I've met, his name was Bob, came in here, broke in, tried to bed down for the night. What happened is, you've just seen, you've looked through, there's a gate. He fell through the gate into the tomb of George Mackenzie. Now down, there's pictures of it. There was bones, skulls from plague victims at the bottom of the pit. This poor homeless guy's rolling about in there, ran for his life. So that was 1990. After that, things started taking a turn for the worse. There's many strange occurrences happening, and they're just up here. This is the Covenanters prison. Plaque on the wall tells you its history. Right there. After 1990, the action started, the paranormal activity, if you will. When tour guides go in here with people, many have been assaulted. There's pictures on the website, scratches, gouges, bites, all supposedly at the hand of the bloody judge George Mackenzie. It's very real, that's why they've got it locked. I mean, you have to go on one of those tours with the right people to go to the right spots. It's a very dangerous paranormal hotspot. Very active. And that's why we can't go in here today. But you can certainly have a look. You can see down here and see the tombs of prisoners of the Covenantal movement. They'd be in there for a long time with the worst conditions, basically left to rot, then taken to the toll booth and tried and executed. Wow. So a very, very dark place. So Lee, that's us at the far side of the Greyfriars Kirk, and that kind of concludes certainly the scary parts of the story. I mean, as you can see, it's a vast, amount of gravestones and tombs, but as far as it goes with the Mackenzie poltergeist, that's the scariest one of all.
It's huge. You don't expect it to be as big as it is.
Fair...
It just keeps going and going. There's a lot more to it than what you'll probably see on the camera, isn't there? It is massive.
Well-known Edinburgh dignitaries buried here from back in the day.
And you can tell they have money.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And now we're going to, check out where some people didn't have money ended up.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're just down the road from the Greyfriars Kirk, and this is the famous grass market. Lots of stories, and this part is the West Bow. Now, a famous resident of the West Bow was a man called Major Thomas Weir. Now, him and his sister, he was a decorated man, lived with his sister there. And on his deathbed when he was ill, he confessed to many atrocities and debauchery got up to in his life, including necromancy, including sodomy, including all kinds of things that were against the church. And as a result, they dragged him, took him to the toll booth, tried him, and sentenced him to death for what he'd done, practicing wizardry, all kinds of dark stuff. Yeah. When they took him down to the Galilee, which is between Leith and Edinburgh, they threw him on the pyre. He cried out on the flames, and his staff with a human skull on it was seen bouncing out of the fire, and can still be seen here today on the West Bow, as well as his sister's ghost, Griselle, with her horrible charred face coming out of some of the properties here, as well as the Major in a phantom horse and carriage has been reported as well. Tons of history on the West Bow. Right. Waterston Cemetery, and we're sitting on the grave which is known as the tomb of the Red Lady. Now, as you can see, there's not much left of this tomb, but back in the late 70s, about 1977, it was a very grand affair. All in red glass. When the sun shone, it portrayed her as as a red sarcophagus of the woman. Her name was Ann Robertson, and she died in 1865. Her parents must have had money to build such a grand tomb. So what happened? We go to 1977 and the tomb was wrecked. It was vandalised. It was glue sniffers or something. Smashed it to smithereens, desecrated the tomb, broke into it and took her skull as a morbid trophy. There's other parts of the story that ensue about where the skull went, about what happened to it. But for now, it was demolished for safety because it was a ramshackle after that. So 1977, that's when the fun began with the ghost of the Red Lady. The first instance of a sighting of the ghost of the Red Lady, Ann Robertson, was around about 1981, and it was a council employee, a gardener, when he still used to look after the place, was cutting the grass. He was doing it he saw a woman in a wedding dress walking from one side of the cemetery towards the grave up there. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but he was cutting the grass around about here and he saw it just disappear, vanish into what was left of. And it was still, you know, more of a structure in 1981. That was the first sighting, but there was more to come. The next story jumps forward from 1981 to 1987. The story goes, there was a chap that he was in visiting, tending a relative's grave, and it was directly behind us up there where he saw something fitting the description of the gardener in 81 watching him. Woman in white standing up there on that parapet looking down at him from here. He fled as soon as he could after seeing that. That was the second one, 1987.
Right, so the lady in white, is she the same lady?
They reckon that is Mary Ann Robertson.
Right.
That is, I don't know if it's a shroud she's wearing, if it's a wedding dress, I really am not sure. But the two sightings were of a woman in white, what resembled a wedding dress.
Right, okay.
And it was right there, standing up there.
So the chances are it is the same.
I think so, I think so. So that was the two so far.
Cool.
As you can see, you know, it's an impressive looking building.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's similar to the one in London in the Highgate Cemetery.
Some of the graves are amazing and the age of them.
Yeah. We're in front of the tomb of a Mr. Adam Black, born February 20th, 1784. This is the spot when a dog walker around about 1989 came face to face with a woman behind where you're filming. Whether it was Mary Ann Robertson, I don't know, but that was just another of the stories that she was seen walking through the gravestones just over there where he was standing with his dog. The dog got out of there afterwards, someone spooked it. That's the story of that one.
And it's a woman, have you noticed it's always a woman?
It's
got to be the same woman, surely.
It's three. The final story I'll tell you was the final one to date. We'll take that over here closer to the gates. Okay, so the final part of the story happened in around about 1991. Now, over this end of the graveyard was much bigger in the 80s, and land development took a lot of the graves away and built houses. It's now known as East or Waterston. Now in 1991, one of the properties, a group of kids decided to hold a seance. Now they did it 5 nights, I believe, one night each. You know, they contacted the same thing and it spelt out letters. At first they thought that it was just gibberish, it was just nonsense, but the letters were M-A-R. Now could that be the fact that it was Mary Ann Robertson building on her graveyard? Nobody knows, but the things that happened afterwards included a garden shed bursting into flames, there was glasses smashing, there was crockery smashing. I don't know what happened afterwards, but that was the last kind of supernatural recording of the area, and it was on the reclaimed part of the graveyard.
That's Rocky, I'm Lee, that's Sarah, that's John.
John's over there. Come and say hello to us. Come on, because we've not got very long tonight. We'd like to stay with you longer, but we can't tonight.
Set any other devices off around us, anything at all. If you go near it, it'll make a noise, it won't hurt you. Set any other devices off around us, anything at all.
Mary, you're still here walking these grounds because of the boys that defaced your grave?
2.
Or 2, yeah. Is that why you show yourself?
They also took her skull, so they not
Yeah, that's true.
they what's the name it as well, whatever you call it, can't think what the word is.
Are you annoyed because they took your skull somewhere else, Mary?
Mary, if you're there, can you set one of them devices off, please?
Can you come close towards the grave? Touch one of those aerials for me, please.
Because none of them will do you any harm. We're not here to disrespect you or cause any harm to the grave tomb. We've just come to communicate with you.
If you look, the temperature's going down. Keeps going up and down.
Yeah.
Keeps fluctuating. But we're outside and that's been set for what? 20 minutes? Mary, can you show yourself to us? Mary, is that you? Were you making the lights go off on our machine? Can you come back and do that again for us, please?
It's gone off again.
Oh my
It's gone off
God.
again.
Can you do that again for us, Mary? Do you know what? It's every time I mention
Her name.
her name, or is she annoyed about her head?
Oh no, skull.
Her skull, yeah.
Yeah.
Mary, is Sarah right? Is it you that's making this device go off? Is it you that's setting this? Oh my God,
What?
the vibration on the EDI's just gone off.
Really?
Yeah, the orange light's just gone up on it.
Oh my God, how's that even possible?
Oh my God,
What?
the vibration on the EDI's just gone off.
Really?
Yeah, the orange light's just gone up on it.
Think about it, it's on top of the grave that's on concrete. How's that even possible?
Now there's not a chance at all that can be anything to do with us.
Yeah, it's on 2 blocks of concrete, isn't it?
I know,
Yeah, let me go over and I'll jump up and down just to make sure. Just to show you that it's not us that
Go on
are
then.
setting it off. Ready?
Yeah, go on.
No.
Yeah, it's not even going off.
Nothing.
Not a thing, do it again.
Say it off again, show us that you're here.
Maybe put the EM pump on a minute. Or should we leave that for now?
No, leave it for now. Go right next to it.
Go on then.
That won't be doing that.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all.
Not a chance now, we're going to send that off.
Mary, can you touch one of those aerials instead? That's just the same as those lights that you've just made happen.
Won't do anything but let us know that you're here.
I don't understand how that's possible that that vibration can go off and it's on all that concrete.
No, no.
Now there's not a
Doesn't
chance
make any
that
sense.
can be anything to do with us.
It's not like trucks are rumbling past or...
No,
No.
I don't know where
There's
we are.
nothing.
Some
That's
miles
on,
from the news.
that's on 3 layers of concrete. It's on a slab
Yeah,
on top of another big slab. It's a tomb.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? Mary, can you come and show yourself to us, please? Are you the lady in white that's seen?
Can you set it off again now?
Do you know what? Anybody walking past and hearing us, they're going to think.
Mary, is it you that's setting this device off? Is Sarah right that it's you that's setting this device off? Because you're annoyed at what them boys did to your tomb.
Use any of the equipment in here. If you go near any of the stuff, it'll do something to you. None of it will hurt you.
That's amazing in itself,
What?
that the vibration's gone off
Yeah.
after asking a question.
I know. It's after every time you say Mary.
Yeah.
Mary, we've got a voice recorder here. If you can speak into that, we'll be able to hear your voice.
Maybe you had a message that you didn't have a chance to get out when you were alive, before you died, and there's something you want to tell us. You're speaking to that voice recorder, Mary, the one with the red light. We can play it back and hear your voice.
Come and tell us your story. Come and tell us why you still walk these grounds. Please. It's a bit creepy in this graveyard, isn't it?
Yeah,
At night.
yeah. And what's worse is it's like really old.
I know.
It's not like a modern graveyard, it's tombs.
I think that looks really that look
I
that.
bet this was nicer when it was done.
Yeah.
With all the red glass and
They used to
everything.
look after it. Apparently, they used to have like people that used to volunteer come in and look after the grounds.
Yeah, it's nice. Do you like it here, Mary?
Make one of them devices go off if you want us to come back and visit you again. So you can tell us your story.
Would you like us to come back, Mary?
I thought I heard a whisper then.
I don't know. I thought I heard something. That's why I
No, I
moved.
thought I heard a whisper.
Not like a proper whisper.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Where from?
behind us.
That's crazy.
But we're in a graveyard. It could be just the wind,
It's
maybe.
a freaky
I don't
environment.
know. Sounded like a really quiet, like a faint whisper.
Mary, can we hear your voice?
That was a good point that he's got going off, so